man? Is that the Reefer man?
That's the Reefer man.
Marijuana.
I believe he's losing his mind.
I think he's lost his mind.
Reefer Madness Radio.
Welcome to Reefer Madness Radio. It's Friday, the 22nd of November. Wow, you guys, Thanksgiving is right around the corner. It's kind of crazy how fast this month is going by. Anyway, welcome to the show this evening. Of course, I'm joined with my very good friend, Mark, the guy that could fly.
What's up, Jay? How's it going?
It is going really well, you guys, and Mark. It's going really, really super well, to tell you the truth.
Good. I'm doing less than super well. Doing mediocre, hanging in there. Excited for the show. It's a good, I don't know, it's a good ritualistic thing. Every Friday, we're going to have a show. It's going to be awesome.
It is nice to have that to look forward to. I look forward to it, too.
It's just cold. It's just like it's November. It's cold. It's November.
Oh.
It's just, I don't know. The cold is getting to me. I mean,
It'll be warm next week. You don't worry. You don't worry.
Yeah,
it will. I promise.
Sleepy,
it'll
maybe.
be warm.
I don't think afternoon naps are a good idea. I think sometimes they take afternoon nap before the show, and I think they have decided that's a bad idea.
I never nap. Never.
I also have decided that in a queso burrito, I still want beans. I got one without beans, and it just was not. It was not.
There's nothing worse.
Feeling less satisfied, Jay. What can I say?
Nothing worse than a quesadilla that doesn't satisfy. I'm so sorry, man. You know.
It was a burrito.
Oh, that's even worse. A burrito? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's really just.
Essentially, it was a quesadilla that it masked as a burrito. I wanted beans. The queso thing was good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was at work yesterday at a dispensary, Colorado Harvest Company. I have no problem saying what that is. And we did not get raided.
Yay.
But there were some dispensaries and grows and homes in the Colorado and Denver, Boulder area that were raided by the DEA and by help through
IRS.
the IRS. DEA, IRS.
Denver police and state agencies.
Okay, the DEA, the Department of Environmental Agency.
No.
Drug
DEA,
Enforcement Agency,
yeah.
I'm just joking. And the IRS, for taxes, right? So that's what it's believed to be associated with. MED, the Marijuana Enforcement Division, previously known as the Medical Marijuana Enforcement Division. So, idea being that they were doing something. It's not that the federal government is going back on any sort of promise. It's that in that letter from the Department of Justice, there were 8 criteria. They said, hey, don't do this and don't do that. And apparently some of these dispensaries, grows, what have you, are being accused of violating some of these things. So it's more like they were violating state law rather than the federal government just deciding to put the hammer down.
Well,
they were doing something.
It does more than just violate state law. I mean, these guys were doing nefarious things across state lines, right?
Yes.
And there are a few different lines to this story about what's going on.
Oh, it's like a movie.
It is. It's really kind of, kind of.
So we open up in Florida with Tony Montana trying to sell some jewelry.
Right? Yeah, he's a thief, a known thief. And they're on to him already, right? Poor guy. Thief can't get no breaks, I guess. Right? You know what? I'm not really that interested in that guy's story or even in the details, to tell you the truth, of what's going on here. All I know is that some wicked stuff was going down. They got a warrant to search for evidence to hold against this guy. Mm-hmm. So, everyone was worried that the DEA was cracking down for some, ambiguous reason across the city. But this was a very targeted investigation, right? They searched very specific places within the properties that they went to search, and they were looking for specific things. That actually kind of pleases me because, frankly, in order for this to work for everyone, we have to weed out the those nefarious connections, right? But at the same time, this notion that because federal agents were involved and they saw the cannabis, they are obligated by law to take it, right? I don't know if that is really constitutional. And a lot of people are suffering for that. You know, all of those plants at a dispensary are tagged to specific patients, right? When you sign up with your dispensary, it gives them the permission to grow those plants for you. So all of those patients essentially have lost their ability to get their medicine. Now, luckily in Colorado, there are a lot of places to choose from, and they can sign up somewhere else. But it just bothers me that they had to destroy the cannabis just out of hand like that. You know, it just really bugs me.
Yeah, the picture of it in the snow, like big pile of weed in the snow. It was tragic. Along with like
made me cry.
because yeah, I mean the federal government has also just issued letters being like, you're too close to a school. You have 20 days to cease and desist.
You know, sometimes the hammer's got to come down hard. What
Sure.
can I say? You know,
because yeah, they're criminals if because then they're saying that they're ties with this this Cuban. I mean, there's all kinds of like things going on. I have the Denver Post article that there were definitely cartels and potentially gangs involved, and so yeah, to maybe write them a letter might have given them a way out or a way to get rid of some evidence.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know about the idea of like it's like. I see pictures of like broken windows at the front door of VIP.
You know,
and it's like,
again, it's overkill. Like, I don't think any of our police agencies in this country have a clue about subtlety anymore, nor about protecting the common people here, right? It seems in everyone's eyes, we the populace are criminals no matter what, and we pose a danger no matter what. Well, you posted a story just the other day about another cop killing.
yeah, where it was like the basically it was like he was maybe posing or looking like he was gonna start shooting, but didn't have a gun, and it just looked like they shot at him because it looked like he had a gun. And I'm just like, well, that excuse would make it valid to shoot at anybody, right? Dude, I thought he had a gun. Thought he had a gun. Thought he had a weapon.
Talk about abuse of power right there. You know, that is just insane. What were the rest of the circumstances there? Like, why were they after this guy in the first place?
I think there was some sort of traffic stop, and then he was running and ended up at the top of a building or something. Like, there was, I mean, it was, I don't know, crazy circumstances. I guess back to this, like, my point with, like, the busting down the windows, like, sure, I guess they had to kind of go in quickly, but I still don't see why. If I'm working in a dispensary and they walk in the front door, I guess they thought there were going to be guns there. They expected to be some sort of, like, fight back.
I don't
Really? In a dispensary?
I don't think so.
I don't see it.
You know, again, the idea that we need more enforcement. Enforcement of who? You know, we're talking about cannabis users, not, you know, people who are generally violent to begin with.
Or I feel like if they had been some sort of like their normal enforcement from the beginning, and there was something in this article that like one of the dispensaries involved actually, one of the rated dispensaries has applied for state licensing in 2010, but regulators have yet to approve or reject it. A spokeswoman for the State Medical Enforcement Division, part of the Department of Revenue. She declined to give a reason for the 3-year wait. So if they'd have like declined it, you know what I mean, like, or been more on top of keeping track of why is it that you have this giant grow and you have this one small retail space? Not that they do, I don't really know, but it seems like there would be ways to catch someone not following, you know, not being compliant long before you have to start showing up with guns and breaking down windows. Like, what how did it get to that?
You know,
I guess.
again, this
Maybe it was just quickly. It was like, oh, cool. Let's take a caller.
Yeah, let's take it.
How's it going, man? What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
This is Justin.
Justin, where are you calling from?
Texas.
Texas. What part of Texas?
Allen, Texas.
Right on. What's your question, Justin?
Well, my question is, do you think the cannabis industry will be a safe industry to rely on for a career? For a lifelong career?
You know what?
Not just like a job for a couple of years?
That is an excellent question, Justin. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks, Justin, man. That's interesting. I mean, I guess, I work, at a dispensary kind of as a more or less on the entry level, like bud tending front desk type of position. But, I mean, my boss owns multiple dispensaries and, a lab, and there are people that have made a career out of it and are making good money doing it and doing so legitimately. So there are definitely people that do it, and the industry is growing. More and more people are going to get hired. More and more dispensary/retail spaces are going to open up. So as far as cannabis as a career, like definitely, especially in Colorado, I only see it continuing to grow. And I see no reason why if it's something you wanted to do, something you were passionate about, then absolutely, right? Like, why not?
Well, I don't know, Mark. I think I have to agree with you here because, here's the thing, you guys. There's always a chance that things could change again. But as far as letting the genie out of the bottle goes, this is so much farther than anyone that I know ever thought we would get. And the way we're doing it is so professional here in Colorado. And for the most part, working really well here in Colorado. I think that, yes, more states in the next election cycle are going to adopt medical marijuana laws, and more states are going to adopt recreational marijuana laws, and soon the tide will change. And I think that's my joints. Sorry, guys.
You're so old, Jay.
So yeah, I think the tide is basically on its way over the crest here, and I think there are careers to be had. Also, remember, there are peripherals to the cannabis industry that have been around for decades, right?
Jay, let's introduce our guest because I think she has a lot to speak on this.
All right.
Larisa has been with
absolutely.
us before. Thanks for joining us.
I'm sitting here like, wait.
Yeah, because she is getting your education. You're going to be the first in I think you said the country, maybe the world. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to Regis University, and I'm getting my master's in marijuana policy and economics. It's a self-designed degree. It's never been done before because people have studied marijuana policy. Certainly, people have gotten their political science degree, and, they focus their research on drug policy reform. But what I'm studying is new because the industry is new, and so we're trying to see... we're looking at things like the possibility of economic growth and ancillary market growth or the peripheral markets, like Jay was saying.
Sure.
Because it's just so vast. There hasn't been an economy outside of the underground market or medical marijuana where we could get a general idea. And that's for a variety of reasons. For example, one thing that's really profound and that a lot of research cites is that there's no way to know exactly how many marijuana users there are out there. So potential for economic growth is going to be kind of like a go as we're going to research as we go because more and more people are going to feel more confident to come out and smoke marijuana publicly and publicly admit it. And so it's just... I was talking to somebody earlier today, and the best description for it right now is it's nebulous. But there are, you've got all these investment bankers that are looking into the industry. They're doing a lot of research now. So it's not that the research is brand new. The degree itself, yeah. Like this is, it's going to be called marijuana Masters of Art in Marijuana Policy and Economics. That's what we're calling it so far. It's very weird because I have to, the next class that I'm taking, I literally had to design, and we had to find a professor to teach it. And were you going to say something, Jay?
What I was going to say was this is a great example of making your own way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And to relate it back to your question, Justin, if you want to sign
Justin's on here.
that making a career in cannabis is possible, right? Larisa is a great example because she's taking the design into her own hands, and she's going to make a career. She's going to forge a career for herself, right? And in government, there are people that are in need. We need these policy wonks.
Wait, what was that?
We need these policy wonks.
Yeah.
It's not a derogatory term.
No, I'm a nerd. It's okay.
Right. So, But it's a good indicator of things to come for sure.
Yeah, it is.
I'm glad to hear all this.
Well, it's really exciting, Justin. And the sky is the limit in terms of what kind of business that you can have. You can do marketing. You can do. There's a lot of entertainment industries that are, growing tourism. The peripheral. Oh my gosh, it's just the sky's the limit. And so hopefully, as Jay was saying, the genie's out of the bottle. They'll let us grow and we can achieve all these different possibilities that are out there because there's just so many.
Yeah, right. The sky's the limit if it's your own imagination that's running the show. Well, Justin, thanks for calling.
Thanks for having me. I love the show.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, and if you have something that you're passionate about, once cannabis becomes legal, it kind of, you can think of ways to tie that together. I mean, you know what I mean? If it's whatever, surfing, or if you like basket weaving, or sports even, where you can all kinds of things, endless things.
Hemp baskets.
Right on. Exactly. All right, you guys. Thanks for calling again, Justin. We're going to take a break.
Let's do that.
And when we come back, we're going to have more to say with Larisa Bolivar.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com. Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706.
The law offices of Edson Maiden and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook. National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
Reefer Madness Radio, we are back. I had posted something on Facebook asking people to ask questions or comments regarding these raids, just kind of comments or concerns. And somebody, so Miguel, do you think the raids settle down across the country or simply in the legal states starting January 1st? So, I guess it's kind of asking, in regards to, are we going to see more or less raids, in Colorado versus, California has medical, but it's not legal on a retail level. I think all the dispensaries that are going to be able to sell retail adult use are doing so legitimately and will be following all, getting all their inspections done and posting all their licenses. And those places will probably not be subject to raids because they'll be subject to enforcement long before a raid would take place, and I feel like they would get shut down early on. So I feel like any raids that would happen would still be with alleged places that are still trying to operate kind of in the fold or on the fringe, so to speak. Thoughts?
Well, sorry, I got allergies really bad. There's so much to this. There's so much to the raids, right? Like, the very first thing that comes to mind is compliance, right? Regardless of why they were raided, and we're not going to say that anybody was guilty, because, we do have, people are proven innocent, are innocent until proven guilty. Supposedly. But, it makes you wonder, what violations did they make? How severe were they? We're going to have to wait before we can really make any calls on this. We have to remember that the local government, federal government, those of us in the marijuana industry are stakeholders in this. And so we have to remember that this is a new law and that the world is watching us. And, if the DEA is going to come in and show a force like that, because that was a big show of force. You had some officers that were in camos, in military gear.
That was just because they had the opportunity. Somebody's like, "Carl, can we wear the ski mask today? Is that okay?" Yes, we can wear ski masks.
Well, yeah, exactly. You had some agents that were just dressed normally, and just
they spent a lot of money executing a search warrant.
Yes, they did.
Somebody asked if there are some dispensaries that are 21 plus only, such as River Rock.
All dispensaries are 21 plus unless you have a red card, right? When January 1st comes around, someone asked a question about dispensaries being 21, right? You can get a medical card by yourself once you are 18, right? If you can get a doctor to give you a medical card when you're 18, then you can have one. You can have them younger than that with a parent's consent, right? When the recreational market comes online January 1st, all recreational dispensaries are 21 plus. If you have a red card, you'll go to a medical dispensary. I'm not sure you'll be allowed to purchase. Of course you would. Actually, I'm not sure if you're under 21.
If you're under 21 and you have your red card, then yeah, you can get marijuana. But there's going to be retail marijuana centers, medical marijuana centers, and there's going to be some places that will have dual licenses. So you're going to look at some people have virtual separation. So they'll have everything will be in the same containers, sort of. At some point in the transactions, and people just have to show their IDs, and then you're going to have separate. Completely separate. So it's going to be, interesting to see how, they protect patients and how they, But yes, if you're 18, you can get your red card, you can get marijuana, but you cannot get marijuana until you're 21. And this selling to minors is a severe violation. That's
right. And if you're a minor and you're caught with marijuana and you don't have a red card, then you're in violation of the law, right? And you'll face the full force of that. Right?
And that's what I think that's what I think the messaging behind these raids is, we're being serious. That's what I hope. And the reason why I say that is I don't like the fact that anybody's going to get raided and get in trouble. I hope everybody's operating on the up and up, but we have to stress that, compliance to all these regulations, and this is what they said, that, this was because of the 8 guidelines that were set forth. This is why they came in. Mm-hmm. But, it's just really obvious that, they mean business. So they're going to be really strict on the age requirements. They're going to be really strict on, just people following all the regulations.
So, like I said, 3 shops. So if you're 18 to 21, you'll have to go to a place that is just a medical marijuana dispensary and stays as such only. Because any place that goes to a dual licensed shop will not be able to allow medical patients that are 18 or 19 or
Correct.
20.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the licenses are going to, and a lot of the major dispensaries are switching to that dual license because they don't want to abandon their medical patients, and they'll essentially will probably be different prices, for this, and there'll be different inventory. It might come from the same grow, but at some point it's going to be divided in inventory somehow, and You'll walk in. You'll be in the same lobby maybe with medical patients and non-medical, but you'll probably have a separate bud station, so
Yes.
you won't necessarily wait in line behind them. And when if you're buying adult use, you won't have to. You just have to show your ID that says you're 21, and we might have to ask you for a name to put it in a computerized queue. You know what I mean? Just like you might, hey, we need a name to put you in the queue. And you can give your name or your false name, or can I use your name or something? Because, again, there's no record of sales, so some people probably want to protect their privacy and don't want their actual name being called out as far as come up to the bud station next, So there could be things like that. But, yeah, like I said, if you're 18, you can still get your medical marijuana.
Yeah.
But I hope that answered that question.
I want to say one more thing about raids, and that is, as we see more states come online, yes, we're going to see more raids, right? Until enough states come online or until the federal government changes their stance, which will have to happen at some point when enough states come online. But hopefully it will happen before that, because they're wasting our money, people. It's our money we're talking about, not to mention all the lives they're ruining. I think the raids will continue until we fix the system and we get the federal laws changed, right? But here in Colorado and elsewhere, hopefully, the raids will be tied to specific investigations of specific crimes and not broad-based general abuses of power.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to come after dispensaries that are are being compliant with everything that they're told to be compliant with.
I agree.
We hope. That's just
the hope.
it. That's
But we don't know right now.
We don't know right now.
Point. And there are people in the federal government especially who are trying to build their careers literally on the backs and lives of people in our community.
This is true. And, I have, some concerns about this. Like, if the MED, and they have badges and guns, and they're required to enforce the laws, why did the feds come in? But, the IRS coming in sheds some light on that, too. We just have to think about all the different parts of it. Mm-hmm. And I guess I just keep wanting to talk about it because I've been talking about it thinking about it.
It's the topic of the day, man.
Yeah,
so
my eyes are burning from reading the news and trying to figure it all out. But
we were terrified yesterday. I mean, there were so many rumors flying around the internet about who was getting raided and why this was happening. At least today we have some clarification if we don't have exact details. And again, it's an ongoing investigation. My wife, Citizen Kay, is a lawyer, and she reminded me, this is a search warrant, so that means there's an affidavit somewhere that some officer or some other law enforcement person is accusing someone, and so they went looking for the evidence to support that affidavit. It's basically what this was, right? It's a fact-finding mission is basically what it boils down to.
Well, they had a search warrant. I mean, I was raided. They didn't have a search warrant. They invoked the Patriot Act, and I didn't know what to do. I let them in. I mean, I didn't think I was doing anything illegally. I had around 30 patients at the time, 80 plants. They're all less than 12 inches.
But this was a while ago. You're talking
this
about
is 2003 when when the laws were first first passed. My ex-husband were publicly helping people, and there was a few rogue growers who rolled on people, and that they raided people and then did investigations. So that was a little bit different. Things were different, but the state has learned a lot from that. Mm-hmm. Just by people working,
the laws
and
have
regulators,
also changed dramatically since 2003. Right?
And there's actual regulations in place, and this is why people put the regulations in.
This particular investigation is across state lines, right? It goes all the way to Florida, is my understanding.
That was the one Denver Post article. It could go to Colombia, according to that. It could go deep. We don't know. But if you read the article, it's pointing, at all these different directions, and it's like, wow, who's investing? What's going on? Like, is this real? Like, is this,
hopefully
Cubans,
those details
Colombians?
will come out.
Is
but,
this true?
We're gonna
Can they all really be connected? 10 to 15 dispensaries really be connected? You got one guy, he's Hungarian. You got a lawyer,
it
looks like he's
10
Italian.
to 15 dispensaries, was it?
It seemed like that said if you look up 10 to 15 total, and they're saying they're trying to link them on. There's one attorney who's a registered. This is in that Denver Post article that came out today. Pretty sure it was today. All of it's all in my. It's all
right. A little super saturated myself.
I couldn't even sleep last night. I was like, this is just what happened. Why? But the first thing, like, I just have to say that all I can, out of this, my takeaway right now is compliance. Mm-hmm. And, there's 400 pages of regulations of law. It's a lot to read. I've been reading them, and it's like, oh, my God. Lots of coffee, right? But it's really important for people to learn. It's important for businesses to, teach it and have policies and procedures. We need to treat the marijuana industry like any other business, any other corporation, anything that, even if it's a small business, just to survive. And, I have a libertarian streak, and I don't like rules. So this is for me to be talking about rules and regulations. It's just funny, but it's what's working.
And these are growing pains, people. They're growing pains. All right, so I understand we have to take a break. Before I cut out, I just want to say a big thank you to Medically Correct, who sponsors our show, the makers of the incredible bars. I love those things. I'm going to pick one up this weekend for sure. Thanks, you guys. We'll be right back with more Larisa Bolivar and Mark the Guy That Could Fly on Reefer Madness Radio.
The law offices of Edson, Maiden, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
High up in the Rockies is beautiful Frisco, Colorado. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is a medical marijuana center with compassion for Colorado's medical patients. Looking for great meds grown organically in soil? You've come to the right place. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is just off I-70 at exit 203. Check them out at the web at www.mmrockies.com. Their ever-changing strain and clone selection is updated on the website daily. When making a trip to the mountains, no matter the season, stop by Medical Marijuana of the Rockies. Make sure you say you heard about them on iCannabis Radio. You can call 970-668-MEDS to get more information. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies, your mountain source for meds.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
Yeah, and this is the Denver Post article I have, and it says federal agents swarmed 14 locations, including dispensaries and grow warehouses in Denver, Commerce City, and Boulder County, according to sources. 2 homes were targeted. Investigators believe those targeted in the raids had been actively purchasing area dispensaries and grow houses over a sustained period of time. And then it kind of goes on. So going all the way back to 2010. Oh, that was the thing about the not having a license. So it's how deep does the rabbit hole go?
Well, so this article says Fed raids on Colorado marijuana businesses seek ties to Colombian drug cartels. Yeah, I mean, we want to talk about a rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm. And they're seeking the ties, which is a really great term, They're fishing, they're looking for stuff. You know what?
Yeah, so,
I'm almost ready to move on from this just for a second at least, because
we can wrap it up and move on for good as far as I'm concerned.
I want to mention a couple things before we get lost down the rabbit hole again, right?
Gosh.
One is that coming up very soon now is Thanksgiving, right? I wanted to mention this. It's a potluck event by patients for patients. Right, Saturday, November 30th, from 6 to 11 at Grow Big Supply, 5501 Wincoop Street. I'm not sure if that's still correct address, because I just picked this up at a dispensary, and you know how
it's the meet and greet. So
it's the meet and greet. You know how I'm always wrong about everything. So
and
anyway,
I'm really hungry.
I wanted to mention.
I wanted
to mention Thanksgiving. I believe there's some charity drives going on there as well. And I'm going to be there with some friends of mine too. So look forward to seeing everybody there. I also wanted to mention some good news that I heard today.
Oh, good.
Right, some good news from Sierra Little. Right, the Littles, if you recall, moved here from New Mexico for their son to be able to take advantage of medical cannabis for his leukemia. And when they got here, they basically got told by their doctors at Children's Hospital that no, they wouldn't support that, and they threatened to have Child Protective Services take Landon away. Well, today, Child Protective Services denied that. They denied the doctor's request to have Landon taken away. And Sierra, his mother, is ecstatic, as she should be.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It is. It's really great.
That's
This family is blazing a way for so many families in this country, right? The brave actions of these people and the bold things that they are doing must be celebrated and praised. So, good news in the cannabis community on the little family front. And also, I heard that they were able to raise enough money to send Landon to a new oncologist in New Mexico again.
That's awesome.
I think, or maybe it's Arizona this time. But down south again, who will allow them to use cannabis along with the chemo and steroid therapy, right? So
that's great.
It is good news. Good news, everybody.
Well, and there's a trend. There's a lot of people moving. So more good news. A lot of parents are moving to Colorado.
And we're seeing more coverage, right, in the national media about that.
Yeah, there was something, I think we mentioned it the other week, about a family that was originally from Iowa that moved out here to get their, I think it was their daughter, I don't know, son or daughter help. And they were concerned because they could not go back to Iowa because they would be accused of child abuse.
Right, isn't that just crazy?
Well, I mean, can you imagine you're a parent and your child is sick, dying? Like, you're going to become desperate. My little brother had a heart condition when he was 7, and he almost died. And I remember my mom and the panic that, you're going to do anything to save your kid's life. And if somebody says, if your kid eats marijuana or takes, marijuana or CBDs and in a capsule form, and it's going to stop their epilepsy, it's going to help cure their cancer, any parent in their rational mind is going to do that.
They're going to at least try it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
If it's possible. Yes, I will move to Colorado if that was what it takes to get to that doctor or get to that medication or get to that
once
healing
more
process.
People do that, and what we need is actual empirical evidence that we can shove down the federal government's throat, because they already know it. They own the patent, right, on medical marijuana. The hypocrisy exists because not enough people in this country are willing to hold their feet to the fire. But as more parents realize that this is helping their kids, no matter what the condition is, right, then they're going to exert that pressure. That's what we need to do. It's all about the dialogue. The only way to exert the pressure is to do this kind of thing, what we're doing right now, people, talking and listening to each other right now, right? Say it all the time. It starts with dialogue. You build a community and gain that momentum, and that's how we change our world, right?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how I change the world.
I have to give a shout out before I forget to another one of our sponsors, which is the Daily Doobie. You guys, exciting issue of the Daily Doobie coming up this month. We got one more month to go before January 1st. One more month to go. So everyone's gearing up for that, including us at the Daily Doobie. So don't forget to pick it up at your dispensaries. At Sexy Pizza, you can find it.
Oh my God,
find
I'm
it
hungry.
At record stores rather in your neighborhood. And if you don't see it where you want it, ask for it. We'll get it there, right? Thanks again, everybody.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good thing. A cannabis newspaper. What's not to like, and why wouldn't it be everywhere?
Well,
as it should be. Cannabis should be everywhere, and eventually it'll be made on hemp paper, right? That might take a decade or so, but we'll get there. We have We have our 7:10 break coming up here. I'm heating up.
Not a break. It's time to adapt.
Oh, that's what I mean. It's not a break. I'm just saying it's time for the 7:10 stretch.
You're the only one with a nail right here, so do a big one.
Is that
for
right?
us. Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one with a nail? Ha ha ha.
I can still smoke weed though.
Larissa, would you like to have this dab?
I want to remember what I'm talking about. So, and see, that's the other thing that people don't understand about marijuana is that people tend to know their limits and kind of stay there. Like I know what level I want to be medicated at, or however I want to feel, and I can control that. You know, people with, you know, abusive tendencies, like alcohol, they just tend to go on and on and on to try to reach a high. And
what are you trying to say?
I think that you're a potaholic. You need. Jay, I've been meaning to talk to you for a while about this.
Oh my God. You know, anybody who knows me really well knows that that's one of my most favorite gigs is the, I've been meaning to talk to you about that.
You should.
I think you and Citizen K would get along really well.
Oh, I forgot about So we can have fun in light of like a very serious couple days. So,
you know, things go on, right?
They do.
And
the dialogue. I mean,
right?
think about it.
Oh yeah, you know, all the attention that this brings. You know, they say even bad publicity is good publicity.
Good publicity, yeah.
And we don't necessarily want this kind of shadow being cast across our community. But at the same time, if you listen to the chatter within the community, people are behind sticking to the regs, right? They know it works. And the main players in our community have chimed in. And they're like, you know, if we're weeding out the bad guys, then that's good for everybody, is basically the consensus that I'm hearing in the community. And I think that's right. You know, if we're weeding out the bad guys, that's good for everybody in the long run.
There's an opportunity to do things right, so do it right. Like it's just that simple, you know. A lot of businesses during when alcohol prohibition ended, you know, a lot of those people were bootleggers and they had an opportunity to go legit and, you know, be legitimate. You know, it just be compliant, you know, go by the rules. We don't want people that are going to hurt a good thing for everybody. We don't, but, you know, we don't want to say that people are, you know, guilty either because we just don't know. Like I said, I was raided and I hadn't done any, you know,
you know what I was just, I agree. I was just going to make that point. As important as the message is, you know, we have to be diligent as citizens because power will run amok if it's not watched. Right?
True.
We've got to watch the watchers or they will get away from us, right? But that needs to be said. Having been said, you know, I think it's important that everybody plays by the rules. The rules will also change. The players will change. We'll grow. We'll have pains in doing so.
Yep.
Just like it happened with Prohibition. But look, there are people doing things to take advantage. Like I read a story about a young couple who transported, you know, several pounds, I think it was like 11 pounds across state lines to someplace where they would have sold it illegally for a lot of money, right? And I understand the temptation to do that. I've always been strictly consumer. You know, it's kept me safe my entire life. And I've been doing this a long time. I've always been strictly consumer.
But you've needed someone to do that.
Indeed, but and there always is somebody, and I guess, you know, thank goodness. But
how about I was a consumer and I ended up marrying who at the time was my best friend, and that was who I was getting my pot from. My ex-husband. We're divorced now, but yeah, I was always a consumer. I was in the staffing industry before this, and you know, I moved out here because of medical marijuana, but yeah, there's different players. There's just
there always will be. The point that I'm making is that there always will be, right? There are people who are going to play by the rules, and there are people who are always going to try to slip by the rules, right? I think the majority of us are on board that as long as we're playing by the rules, things are going to continue to go our way, right? But we have to kind of band together on that, you know, as a community and be solid about that, you know. And that means when things come to light, we have to pay attention. But we really have to pay attention, and we shouldn't jump to conclusions, and we shouldn't spread rumors.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, what if that's a rumor, with the cartels, but, it just...
What if it's all a lie?
What if it's all a lie?
But, that guy did... Okay, let's say the guy did say that he needed to get rid of 20 pounds a month in Florida. Like, people in Florida want weed. Like, if they can't get it from somebody, they're going to find somebody... Like, they're going to... Like, there's a demand for it, so somebody's going to supply it, and that's how we have a nation full of people smoking weed that want to legalize it, is because there are a bunch of people that are right now willing to break the law and supply people with weed.
Right. What I'd like to see is all those people who want to have weed apply that pressure on their local, on their local legislature.
I would hope dealers would donate 5% to NORML or to the Marijuana Policy Project.
That could be their own.
I wouldn't count on the dealers, man, because the black market people suffer greatly with legalization. Prices go down, and the street corner guys lose a lot of business depending on what they're hustling, right?
But like I said,
I will say this: there are people who grow really fine herbage on their own, and they have clientele that they can sell it to. And when you're in Colorado, you can hook that up, right? So you'll always be able to find that in Colorado.
There's a lot of money to be made from doing it illegally, but there's a lot of money and a stable career and a good job to be made in doing it legally. So there's definitely incentive for someone that, I don't know, loves being around weed and dealing with cannabis and making their money from it to support legalization so that they can kind of, come out of the hot box and, have a legitimate career and start putting, buy a house and have only need one or maybe two bank accounts,
just a normal life.
It'll professionalize. It'll professionalize.
It will.
First we have to get rid of prohibition across the country, right? We're in the very growing part, early part of this growing thing, right? It's just amazing to me that we're in this time. I was told it would never happen in my lifetime, and look what I'm doing, you guys, right?
Yeah, this is quite, profound. It's just, and I was talking to somebody who's, my parents' generation, and they're saying the same thing, and so this is amazing. So this is a privilege. Big time privilege, what we got going here.
And I'm excited. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, like occasionally I get asked, like, in what year is it going to be, legal on a federal level? Like, when is it going to be just fully legal? And I don't know. I mean,
hopefully in our lifetimes.
That's kind of getting ahead of time.
That would be nice.
I'm thinking,
I'm the oldest one in this room.
In your lifetime, like that seems like a pretty conservative thing to say. Like, I'm thinking like before you retire. Like, I'm thinking, you know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking before I hit 50. Like,
we'll see how fast the wave grows. We'll see how fast it grows.
If we can show good solid economic growth, solid job growth, responsible behavior.
That's the thing. It's got to go hand in hand with the social behavior.
Yes, the behavior has to be, that is critical. I mean, image perception is everything, and everybody's
Otherwise,
watching
we'll be
us.
justifying all the money they've spent on cops and guns, right, people? We got to show them that all the money that they are spending on enforcement is really not necessary. And what we need is sensible rules and regulation, not more guns on the street.
Yeah.
Right? So.
That's what sucks about the federal government coming in. Sorry, it's just that I wish that it would have not gotten to that point where we would have been self-regulating and weeded out, so to speak, people like that are. How is it that you have 20 pounds a month to get rid of? Like, why aren't you selling that in Colorado? Like, I don't know, like offer $20 eighths in the,
I know.
Take out now the Daily Doobie.
Everyone's concerned about the coming crunch, right? So why is the weed leaving Colorado? It should not be leaving Colorado.
Exactly. Everybody's
right? We need
freaking
it.
out. Yeah, it's not like there's a demand problem.
No.
I was just having the conversation with someone about how, as your bag gets thinner and thinner, you pinch it smaller and smaller. And, in the old days, every year there were a couple of times a year where you could not get weed, right? It was between harvests. It was just gone, right?
State fair time for me, August.
Think of that bag of
Yeah.
weed that you own yourself.
Yeah,
Now
August
take
was
that
stuff
back
then.
and think of every dealer in the state's got that same bag of weed, and they're giving it out until it's almost gone, and then it's gone and there's none left, right? So that's the way it used to be, and we need all that weed that we can get here. And remember, people, you are more than capable of growing it yourself.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that people have to consider, like, why would somebody consider, shipping marijuana out of Colorado? You've got this regulated economy and potential for growth, but when you look at these places like in the East Coast, it's still like that, right?
I think people are desperate. If you're doing something like that for the money, because we're not talking about
that's what it's for. It's for the money.
And we're talking about okay money, but as far as nefarious actions go, weed doesn't make that much money. So if you're going to break the law, I think people do it because they have friends in other places that are desperate for it, right? That's what I think. I think when you're transporting the kind bud and you're a young couple, which is I think what happened, and you're just taking that chance to help your brethren out, and you're going to make some money doing it, and you're taking all the risk doing it, right? But the reason they do it is because there is that demand. That's what we need to cultivate.
Yes,
that
sure.
demand.
Yeah.
Because there's enough. There's enough ways to make money. Just growing as much cannabis as you possibly can, but keeping it in Colorado, doing things legitimately, and you might not make a flash sale, but you might not make $20,000 tomorrow or the next day, but like steady growth of a business. Your numbers are going to. You might double your sales over a month. Or
and that's
you might
the community part
even
of
if it's 20%.
Right?
If
we're in it together, man, we'll grow together.
Yes, right? And people have to understand growth happens incrementally. And what happens when you have any kind of rush, like I saw this, in the staffing industry, and then recently I was in the energy industry when I left Colorado to finish school. But I was able to see the .com growth and burst. I was able to see the energy market grow. I was able to see the impacts of 9/11. I was able to see the marijuana economy grow. And what happens is people get really excited and they think they're going to be millionaires overnight. And so it makes like this anxious energy. But it's like incremental, responsible growth is what is going to lay a solid foundation for building a very solid economy. And
it takes a long time to grow, and it takes community.
If
it
you're
takes a
last,
network. It takes.
Look how long the oil industry took to grow. Look, if you're going to be a lasting economy, it takes time. .com, boom, burst, right? Think like these things. We can't have these boom and burst. We need a new economy. Just in general, that's solid, that provides manufacturing jobs, that provides all kinds of jobs. Our country needs something like this.
It really does. That's the thing. Cannabis as an industrial product could really change the infrastructure of this country, right? It's going to be fought tooth and nail by those industries entrenched right now. But those industries entrenched right now are non-renewable. They're going to go away, and eventually we're going to have to turn to a renewable resource.
Yes.
Now, if they're smart, they can play along, and we'll use the petroleum and other things until we can no longer do it. We'll do it as responsibly as we can, and we'll phase into the renewable stuff. But people don't think that way, and they want to, that you're right. They're like, let's do it now. This quick knee-jerk response.
Well, just like what I saw sorry to interrupt, but what I saw in the energy industry was, a lot of activists that wanted everybody to stop using fossil fuels right away and change to solar and wind the next day. And that's yes, the urgency is there. Yes, there's a shortage. There's energy shortage, security issue. There's a climate change, debate. It's contentious,
but
right?
Those technologies aren't perfect either, right? And there's a transition that has to be gone through in any kind of
paradigm change.
Exactly.
And that's what we're seeing on so many different levels, right? With marijuana, with the energy economy, they almost seem to be paralleling each other. But you can't stop the fossil fuel economy on a dime and say, "Hey, we switch." No, it's going to in that industry as well. You're
if
going to
they
see
are smart,
growth.
they will adopt the same technologies for cannabis, right?
Yes,
I could see if
hemp.
if Exxon and ConocoPhillips are smart, and let me tell you, I've worked with these guys. Some of them are very smart. Then they're already doing the R&D on how to make the products that they make out of other materials. And when the time comes, the smart ones will transition. They will continue. You know what? Believe it or not, that's progressivism.
Oh my gosh.
Right? That's what the definition of being progressive is. You know, I really don't understand people who think that trying to stay the same all the time is the way to go.
That's just psychology. People are afraid of change
shark.
and greed, and it's just, they can't see, they can't see their vision is just completely stuck,
Short-sighted,
very
yeah.
short-sighted. It's just stuck on their world, and they can't see the different side of it. But, not everybody's like that, fortunately, and that's why you have innovators. So, but it will be nice to see how hemp starts. Colorado, yet again, we're going to be another science project, another experiment. We've got hemp right around the corner that's making splashes and news.
People are asking me all the time, what about that first harvest? Where did it go? What's going to go? What's going to happen? I'm not sure that the first harvest, and I haven't talked to anybody, so I'm not really sure. But it's my understanding with things like that, you generally need a few generations before you get the really good commercial stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So probably the first harvest is really celebrated, and they're going to go right back at it and make more from it.
Yes.
They collected all those seeds.
Yes.
And they'll go at it again, and eventually they'll have enough of it of a really good quality to have a viable commercial industrial product, and then we'll see the industry grow around it here.
Yeah, right? And that's another exciting thing that we can look forward to.
There's nothing they can do with the first crop. Is that what you're
no, that's not what I don't know. I'm just saying in general when you talk about agricultural
I was told, but I
products like
forgot.
this.
Yeah.
Why aren't there coats on the market right now, or why isn't there some sort of hemp fuel station open right now?
Oh, yeah, right. Exactly.
Where did it go? Where?
No,
I don't know.
You're talking about the first harvest that was here in Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a large enough harvest to start a...
But
all of a sudden there's hemp gasoline all across the country, news stations overnight. Pop, 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 pop,
Wouldn't that be awesome? It just doesn't happen that way.
But think if there'd have been 100 or 1,000 hemp T-shirts available for sale as part of it, or they'd have, I don't know, they'd have to do something with it that would be.
You know what? I'm going to reach out here
on the market.
Jason Love. I can't pronounce your name,
Jason
man.
is love.
My friend Jason, if you are reachable in the next week, maybe we'll ask you to come on the show for next Friday. I'm going to reach out to Jason and see if he can come on.
That's a good
because
idea.
People are really curious about that, and he actually is right in the thick of that, so he'll be able to answer those questions.
He's like the state, he could, he's like a founder in that movement. That when I met him years ago, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, something a long time ago. And that was his passion then. So it's been really nice to see.
12,
I was 12, yeah.
You guys, it's 7:28. It's time to wrap up the show.
I would definitely like to know more about hemp, though. For the next show, that would be interesting.
Let's see if we can get Jason to come on. I think that's a great idea. I'll reach out to him on Facebook this week and see if we can get him out here next week.
Because that's the other side of it that Amendment 64 legalized, is that we would have more of a hemp crop.
As far as professionalizing us as an industry, man, that's a whole golden goose there. It's a whole nother level because, hemp is just about the industry.
You could probably get the farmer who grew
the actual hemp.
What's his name?
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. So our
farmer.
producer Chris, if you can't hear him, our producer Chris thinks that we might actually be able to get the farmer who grew the first harvest to come on. Might be able to get him on the phone, eh? Well, let's try to set that up for next week, you guys. Let's make that a plan. I'll do what I can.
Cool.
Thank you, Larissa, for coming in and having such an awesome conversation with us, as always.
Thanks you guys for having me.
That's awesome.
And thanks, Mark, for being such an awesome dude.
No, you're welcome. No, I even put on the show, who should we have on? And your name came up as somebody we should have on again. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, guys.
But yeah, no, it's a good show, Jay. It's awesome having you on. Thanks. You got a couple guys behind the scenes that always help out. So Sam, Chris, always appreciate it. So.
Right on, man. The show wouldn't happen without our producers.
Heck yeah. So good show. We'll be on next week, 6:30 to 7:30 Mountain Time, iCannabisRadio.com. Should be a good show next week. Check us out.
Right on Reefer Madness Radio.